Differentiation, the chain rule. So the chain rule is an interesting one. If you have y equals f of g of x, so a function of a function, the chain rule is then df over dx equals df by dg multiplied by dg by dx. And the reason why that works is because we're finding the differential of the function f, and then you'll see here we've got d of g multiplied by d of g. Those two will cancel out if you multiply this and this together. Okay, so let's do the essential skill of finding which one is f of g and which one is g of x. Well, for the first one in green, we've got y equals cos of 4x squared minus 1. So we've got a function of a function. Firstly, you'll have f of g. And secondly, you'll have g of x. And the best way to find out which one's is f of g is, in essence, you can figure it out just by reading it. You can say cos of the 4x squared minus 1. Already, the first thing I've said is cos of. So actually, it's going to be cos of g. So g is this part inside here. So g of x is actually 4x squared minus 1. The pink one here, we've got y equals sine of the ex. So our f of g is sine g. And our g of x is e to the x. In blue, we've got y equals x squared plus 5x minus 9 all to the power of a third. So just be a little bit more careful with this one, because you're saying this one is all to the power of a third. So we've actually got f of g equals g to the power of a third. And therefore g of x equals x squared plus 5x minus 9. The one in orange on the bottom, we've got f of g, which equals e to the g, and g of x, which equals 4 sine x. And the one in yellow, we've got f of g, which equals 9x to the g, and g of x, which equals 5x. Let's do the green question. Again, let's write down what f of g is. So f of g equals cos g, and g of x equals 4x squared minus 1. We now need to figure out the differential of f to the g, so we'll have f dash g equals minus sine g, and g dash x equals 8x. Okay, now we need these two parts in order to figure out our final answer. So we've got minus sine of g multiplied by g dash x, which is 8x. So we've got so far minus 8x sine of g. And all we need to do at this point is put back our g value, or g of x value. So we'll be left with minus 8x sine of g, which is 4x squared minus 1. For this question, we've got y equals sine to the e of x. So firstly, we've got f, the function of g, equals sine g. Next, we've got the function g of x, which is e to the x. And then we need to figure out the differential of each of these terms. So f dash g equals cos g, and g dash x equals e to the x. Use our chain rule formula now. So df by dg is cos g multiplied by dg by dx, which is g dash x, which is e to the x. So again, I'm going to write it a bit nicer. So e to the x multiplied by cos g, and then substitute back in our g value. So we'll have e to the x, lots of cos g, which is e to the x. So for the blue question, we've got f of g, which is g to the power of a third, and then g of x, which equals x squared plus 5x minus 9. The differential for each is f dash g, or df by dg. I'll write for this question, which equals a third, g to the power of minus 2/3, and dg by dx, which equals 2x plus 5. We then apply the chain rule here. So we multiply df by dg by dx, which gives us g to the power of minus 2/3 over 3 multiplied by 2x plus 5. I'm going to simplify this so it's even nicer. So we'll have 1 over 3g to the power of 2/3 multiplied by 2x plus 5. And then simplify even more, so we'll have 2x plus 5 over 3g to the power of 2/3. Then all we need to do at this point is substitute our g value back in, so that will leave us with 2x plus 5 all over 3 lots of x squared plus 5x minus 9 to the power of 2/3. And we'll leave it in that form, as that's nice enough as it is and it won't simplify down much nicer. Here's 3 questions for you now. I'm not going to fully go through question 1 and 2, just because I'll show the answer fully worked out on screen in a few moments, but for question 3, I'll give you a little pointer just before I show you the whole of the answer. Pause the video, resume when you're ready. Without having to expand the second bracket, which is to the power of 8, that's as simplified as we can get it, so we're leaving it like that. There's the answer to that one. Not a nice question, but there are nicer questions out there. Okay, for question 3, this is where you have to be careful now. So firstly, we'll want to write down our f of g and g of x. So our f of g is going to be g cubed, and g of x is going to be 2x plus 1 all over 2x minus 1. So let's differentiate f of g, so we'll have f dash g equals 3g squared. But for our g dash x, if we want to differentiate this, we're going to have to use the quotient rule, because we can't differentiate this simply. So I'm actually going to take this question, pop it over here and work it out separately. So we're left with minus 4 all over 4x squared minus 4x plus 1. And then you'd carry on with the chain rule as you normally would. And for this one, for the sake of this question, I'm leaving it in that form. I'm not simplifying it down anymore. You may be able to, I'm not for this one. And that's all for the chain rule in this video. I have been a bit mean with the questions, but hopefully it should give you a nice understanding. Feel free to check out some of my other videos. Stay safe and healthy out there, and I'll see you in the next video.